like I mentioned, you have all three of the variations there for you. Notice that the different ones are using the different angles, and part of the difficult part in this is deciding which one to use, to be honest with you. So we'll just work through some examples and do lots of practice, okay? It says to find the indicated measure for triangle ABC. Just like we started with last time, I would suggest sketching out your triangle and filling in the information that you know. In this case, we're looking for the length of side B. Which of those three equations do you think would be best to use in this example? Raise your hand. Okay, or don't. Which one? Why the b squared equals 1? Because we're trying to find b, and we're given the measure of angle b.
So they're always going to be labeled ABC?
Not necessarily, but you're always free to change. I mean, if the vertices are, I think on the next page, the first triangle is not ABC. The first thing I do is change them to ABC.
How do you know which one was A?
It doesn't matter.
Oh,
Just as long as the opposite side is the lowercase, it doesn't matter, okay? So with that being said, always start off with the one you are using, write that out. Notice, like I said, that the 2AC times cosine of B, that whole thing is in parentheses, so watch out for that, okay? If you don't have your calculators out, grab them. Go ahead, go through. You guys are more than capable of filling in the information you're given. So do that. Looking for a side length that is easier than looking for the angle measure, kind of similar to law of sines. I think finding the side length is easier than the angle measure. All right, grab your calculators. I want you to enter this with me. All right, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start off by doing 123 squared plus 97 squared. And then I hit enter after just that part. So 123 squared plus 97 squared, hit enter. And then I hit minus. I open up a parenthesis. 2 times 123 times 97 times the cosine of 22. I have all of that in my parenthesis, and then I hit enter. The answer that you should be getting is 2413 point blah, 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 yes? That's not our answer. Why is that not our answer, that 2413? It's b squared. So what we're going to do is hit second square root, get your square root, and then second answer again. Use that answer function, and then hit enter. And we should be getting that b is about 49.1 if we round it to the 10th. On the want example, notice that we are looking for an angle measure. This is a little bit tougher. Still want to start off probably by drawing your picture. That's how I always start, at least. And fill in what you know. So I'm looking for angle A. I'm given that side A is 11.3. side B is 7.2, and side C is 14.8. Which of our, ladies and gentlemen, which of our three law of cosines do you think we should use for this example?
A squared.
The a squared, and why? Because we're looking for angle A, so let's use that first one. So I'm going to start, of course, by writing that out. And then I'm going to just fill in everything I know. Be careful that you're plugging in the correct numbers to the correct side lengths here, because that does matter. Okay, I typically don't want you to round intermediate values, but for this, when you are using law of cosines and you're solving for an angle, you're going to want to a little bit. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to go ahead and do 11.3 squared, which is 127.69. And then I also want you to go ahead and do the 7.2 squared plus the 14.8 squared. Find that value. That's 270.88. And then the other thing that we can do is we can go ahead and multiply the 2 times the 7.2 times the 14.8. And I'm getting that that is 213.12. Remember that that's a coefficient for the cosine of A. Please, please, please do not think that you can subtract 270 minus the 213. This 213 is a coefficient for the cosine of A. Do not subtract those. What we have to do is we need to subtract the 270 to the other side first, okay? So we have 127.69 minus the 270.88. That's a negative 143.19. That's equal to the negative 213.12 times the cosine of A. So how do we get the cosine of A by itself? Divide, do not add. You guys are, I just anticipate you incorrectly solving these equations. So think about what you're doing. It's the coefficient of cosine of A, so you need to divide both sides by that negative 213.12. I'm getting 0.671875. We want to take the inverse cosine of that number. And finally, we have our angle measure.
What do you want us to round to?
Tenth. All right, these two examples, we are asked to solve the triangle. That means, again, find any missing side lengths and angle measures. All of your answers to the nearest tenth. All right, so this first example is a prime example where you have something other than A, B, and C. The first thing I'm going to do is this. I'm going to change this to A, B, and C. So just keep in mind that the sides opposite your angles are then the lowercase A, B, and C, okay? So even if the vertices are not, you can change it. So let's do that. So
We'll be able to find everything else first though, right?
absolutely. Actually started by finding something else first. Oh, no, I didn't. I found the side length first, too.
I just didn't know since they all use A, B, little A,
Cosine, this would be cosine of C. All right, so fill in what we know, which is everything except for the side length C. So 7.4 squared plus 6.5 squared minus 2 times 7.4 times 6.5 times the cosine of 58 degrees. Oh, I love when we're just looking for a side length on these. Because I can basically put all of that in my calculator and then take the square root of the very last answer. Make sure that you're trying this on your calculator so if you're not getting them correct, I can help you and figure out what you're doing wrong so you can do it on your test. Don't forget to take the square root at the very end. We should be getting, for the length of C, 6.8 when you round to the 10th. So when I find that length of C, I'm going to go ahead and fill that in my picture. Remember that I'm solving this triangle, so I need to find my missing angle measures too. Guys, but at this point, we have an angle and a side that are opposite. I can use law of sines from here, which I like a lot better, and I think you do probably also. So, at this point, you could say the sine of 58 degrees over 6.8 is equal to the sine of A over 7.4, which is equal to the sine of B over 6.5, and go back to what we did last class. So what I'm ready for, we have 6.8 is the length of side C. I'm ready to cross multiply and find the measure of angle A. So I have the sine of angle A should be equal to 7.4 times the sine of 58 divided by 6.8. When you do all of that on your calculator and then take the inverse, angle A should come out to be 54.2 degrees. Once you have the second angle measure, just subtract the first two from 180, okay?
Yes, that's what.
Yeah. This should be 67.4, sorry.
That should be B.
That should be 67.4. Angle B should be the 54.2. Sorry about that. I looked at the